So we are live on YouTube. Share the link. So, okay, so today we are just wanting to get to understand the course itself and also do one practical here so that you can be able to understand what is there with us. So in terms of what you're looking at in this session today, as well as one practical, the first lab is what we call the course objectives and the overview. So get to understand why are we doing AWS Cloud Foundations in the first place. Then also which certification exam is the AWS Cloud Foundation course aligned to. Okay. So let me open the chat so that I'll be able to check it. In case of anything, just share with me and I'll be able to see that. Okay. So the objective of this module is that at the end of it all, should be able to recognize why are the purpose of the AWS Academic Cloud Foundations course. The other thing is should be able to recognize how the course has been structured. The third thing is you can be able to understand the AWS certification process and be able to recognize it. And then maybe you can be able to even then navigate within the AWS documentation website. So let's look at the course. So what is required for the course? What is required is quite clear. We need to have some technical knowledge. Yeah, we're supposed to be able to navigate, be able to use a computer and such. Then you get to understand some business knowledge because there's going to be some concepts that and also modules that touch on the business aspect of cloud computing. Then that's the required knowledge. So another thing that is also preferred is you should be able to be familiar with some cloud computing concepts, although even if you're unfamiliar, this is already covered in module 1. Then a working knowledge of what we call distributed systems. The third thing is you should be able to have familiarity with the general networking concepts. So when talking about networking concepts, we're basically talking about the basics, the fundamentals. So here we're talking about how the client server, IP addressing, subnets, such are the networking concepts that are required, that I prefer that you should have some knowledge about. Then they should also be having a working knowledge of what we call multi-tier architecture as one of the preferred knowledge in terms of the course prerequisites. So at the end of the course, this we're talking about at the end of the whole course, not this module, should be able to define what AWS Cloud is all about, how AWS does its pricing, the pricing philosophy, and then you should be able to identify the global infrastructure components of AWS. So what are the components, what are the parts? Then I should be able to describe security and compliance measures of the AWS cloud, including AWS Identity and Access Management, in short, it's called IAM. Then should be able to have a working practical knowledge of how to create what we call the AWS VPC, or the Amazon VPC, virtual private cloud. Then another thing you should have here, So let me just have a laser pointer so that I can show you. So the other thing is you should be able to demonstrate when to use EC2. When are you going to, in which situation are you going to be using EC2? In which situation are you going to be using Lambda? And then we have also elastic beanstalk. Elastic beanstalk here. Then you should be able to differentiate between Amazon S3, it is a storage, Amazon EFS, and also the Amazon S3 Glacier. The other thing you should be able to do within the course is things called database, things to do with database, the database services, which are the RDS, Relational Database Service, DynamoDB, Amazon Redshift, and also the Aurora. Another thing that is very important is the cloud architectural principles. Should be able to explain the key concepts related to ELB. Also very, very important. How do you do load balancing, which is important. And also one of the features that are there come with cloud computing. Another one is auto scaling. Then the other thing is also Amazon CloudWatch. So at any point in time, you can chat and just ask me anything or interject me. So let's go on. So this is how the course is structured. So we have this module 1. So we have this module 1, which is basically all about the introduction, the concepts, why do people do cloud, and what advantages and benefits does it offer. And when you go to module 2, you get to understand about the economics and the billing, getting to understand how does AWS deal with pricing. Is it the pay as you go and all those other concepts? Then you get to understand about an overview of the global infrastructure of AWS. And module 4, which I believe some of us are already there, is cloud security. So what about cloud security is very important, because anything that is accessible over the internet needs to have some form of security. So how does AWS implement security on its cloud infrastructure? Then you have networking and content delivery, what we call CDN. And then in module 6, you get to understand about compute. Then the storage, we are talking about the S3, the S3 Glacier, and so on and so forth in terms of storages. Then the databases, the database technologies that are there, DynamoDB, RDS, you get to see them there. Then in module 9, you get to understand about cloud architecture. Then you finish up with automatic scaling and also monitoring. So that is how the course is outlined, 10 modules. And as you had agreed during the last session, is that you're going to be doing at least 2 modules per week so that you can see how you can move with it. So in terms of the cloud concepts, in terms of the introduction, I said because of how we are right now, I'll get to something in the lab. I think lab is in module. I'll check on that. Okay. So let's get on to another thing. So module section. So I'll not get into the details of each of them, but you get to understand that module 1 is all about the introduction. I said earlier about the benefits, then getting to introduce. So we're talking about these introduction and advantages. They're not like specific to AWS. It's cloud computing in general. Then you get to now AWS itself. Moving on to the AWS cloud, the AWS cloud adoption framework. Get to see that. Then you get to see the sections. So in terms of module 2, in terms of cloud economics and billing, you get to see the fundamentals of pricing, generally something called the TCO, total cost of ownership, organizations, then the billing and the cost management, and another point called technical support when it comes to cloud economics and billing. Module 3 is all about the global infrastructure. What are the services that are offered, and how does AWS categorize the services that it's offered, because it's a wide range of services. Okay. So in terms of cloud security, we have something called IAM, that is in Identity and Access Management, the shared responsibility model, how to secure your new AWS account, how do you secure accounts, how do you secure data, and also working to ensure compliance with regulations. In module 5, in networking, see the basics of networking. You see Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, VPC networking, VPC security, Route 5, Route 53, and also CloudFront. Module 6 on compute, you get to see the EC2, which is the most popular service in terms of the cloud, because it gives you a virtual machine instance. So you get to see that is called EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. So you get to see how do you do cost optimization, container services, and also a brief introduction to two more services called AWS Lambda and also AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Okay. So in terms of storage, you have 4 services that are offered by Amazon. They're called the Elastic Block Store, the Simple Storage Service, the Elastic File System, and the Simple Storage Service Glacier. You get to see all that in module 7. In module 8, it's all about the databases, relational database service, the Amazon DynamoDB, Redshift, and Aurora. 9 is about architecture. That is how come up what called the AWS well-architected framework. And then we have reliability and availability, and the AWS trusted advisor. Module 10, automatic scaling and monitoring. So you have here elastic load balancing, the Amazon CloudWatch, Amazon EC2 auto scaling. So you get to see how does AWS deal with scaling, scaling and monitoring. So monitoring, as you can see, must be done through CloudWatch, and some of the scaling is being done through EC2 auto scaling, and also we have called load balancing. So this is a very interesting section on how to talk about the certification and exam information. So as you can see, as I said earlier, this course basically should be done in terms of around 6 months, in terms of when talking about ideally. But as you can see, it is a foundational course. It's a foundational course. So at the end of the foundational course, you can be able to do or attempt the AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification Exam. That is, and at the end of it all, you get this badge, and also you get a certification as an AWS Cloud Practitioner. As you go up, as you can see, you get to associate level. So this involves 1 year of experience solving problems and implementing solutions using the AWS cloud. So you become either a solutions architect associate, a SysOps administrator associate, or a developer associate. So those are the tracks. So you can either go up under the solutions architect to a professional, and both in terms of operation and the operations and developer, they can all line up towards the professional certification of DevOps engineer. So in terms of professional, it's about 2 years of comprehensive experience designing, operating, and troubleshooting solutions using the AWS cloud. So all these are exams. So as a cloud practitioner, once you're here, you can see you can be able to now go into any track as an architect or as an ops person or as a developer. On the other side, you'll be able to see that there's some specialty. So some of the specialty certification there in terms of AWS cloud experience in the specialty may specified is advanced networking specialty, big data, security, machine learning, and also Alexa skill builder. So those are the specialty certifications that are there. But this course, you can see this course helps you prepare for the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification exam. Let me take this. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go on a bit fast. Okay, so let's move on. So you can see, in terms of the cloud protection exam, including how you can register for it, that is the link. So you can be able to see how are you able to do that. You can even download some sample exams questions so that you can be able to be well prepared, and then you can be able to see some of the parts here. So these are links that I can share. I can share to the group so that you can be able to look at them. In terms of AWS documentation, all the documentations in terms of what we do is under docs.aws.amazon.com. We have what we call white papers. And so these white papers, you're recommended to read about them and read them before you get to do your AWS Cloud Practitioner certification exam. So some of them is overview of the AWS Amazon Web Services, architecture of the cloud, how AWS pricing works, and total cost of and ownership of web applications in the cloud. So there's something called a scavenger hunt. I will not get into it first. Okay. But we'll do it later on. So to finish, in summary, what we've just looked at, we've been able to understand why are you doing AWS Academic Cloud, and the reason why you're doing it, the reason why you should be able to do it is cloud computing is here with us. It is the future, because we are moving away from costly data centers, which we manage by ourselves. Right now, you're dealing with most of the time cloud computing, and the AWS is not the only. We have so many competitors within the cloud computing space. So it's also very important to not only just know how AWS works in terms of cloud computing generally, but you also get to know also how other providers do. But once you get to know one, the others are pretty much the same, because the concepts are similar, only but the naming is different. So the other thing is you've gotten to understand the course structure. It is made up of 10 modules, covering from the introduction up to where you get to understand about monitoring and auto-scaling. The other thing is you've been able to recognize the AWS certification process. You get to understand, you start from the foundational level, you get to associate level, then to the professional level, where you within the associate and the professional, we have the DevOps, we have the developer, you have the operations, and also you have the solutions tracks. Then by the end of it all, you should have been able to understand and be able to navigate through the AWS documentation website. So on to the favorite part, which is a bit of a practical, where I'd like it to be a bit more interactive. So I'll ask you to ask me questions. Okay, so let me open it first. Let me just open it in a bit. Let me open it up. shortly. Save something here. Okay, it's loading. Okay. So Susan, let me just load it. It's trying to load on this side. Dashboard on the learning management system. So let me just start from here so that you can be able to see. Let me just start sharing. Let me sort this. Okay. So it is to share my screen. Share that. Share. Can you confirm you can see my screen on the chat? Can you confirm that? Okay. Okay. Yeah, can you see my screen? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the first thing you do is you do this. You make sure. So let me just go directly. I was thinking of doing something, but it's not working on me. I can use my annotate. So I'll open this. I'll open the course. So we'll go to the modules, which usually do. So once you're here, so as we've already said about module 1, I'll not go through it right now. And 2, I just learned to jump onto this lab. So the first lab is on security, about identity access and access management. So the first thing is you must have gone through at least the demonstration from the console demonstration, and then you look at the console demonstration. It's loading. So you can look at this. Let me stop my share and then I share again. Maybe it should be having audio. So when you look at this part,
in this setup demo, I'll show you examples of Identity and Access Management, or IAM. I've got the console open here, so I'll click on IAM. The first example I'll show you is configuring a role that can be assumed by an EC2 instance. So I'll click on Roles.
I'll not go through the whole of it. So once you look at that video and you're done with it, what you do is this. You come to the lab here. You can ask questions at any time. So once you are in the lab, so you can see it's written lab 1. So when you're here, I know it's showing this name. Oh, it's there. Places are disappeared. Once it shows this part, you can see there's lab 1, CLI introduction, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4. All the labs are somewhere here. So the first one is the introduction. So the first thing you do when you're here, go to assignments. So this interface has changed a bit. Is it showing me as a lecturer? So it's showing me where I can be able to control the lab itself. Let me just say, let me go somewhere else. I need to view it as a student, so that I can be able to do this. So yeah, so I've already gone through it as a student. Let me just see here. Go to lab 4, lab 1 in module 4. So it's loading. Don't know whether it's going to show me very well. Let it load. Yeah. So I don't know whether you saw this this space where you actually agree to these terms and conditions. Did you see that? You click on I agree. And you choose student access. And then you can see, you get to see here. In this lab, you will explore IAM users, IAM groups, and test access to AWS services when logged in as different IAM users. This lab will take approximately 40 minutes to complete. So you can be able to check on that. So what you do when you click on the lab, you click on my work. So once you're here on your work, you click exactly here. So you can see AWS, the notes are here. So the first thing you're told is here. At the top of these instructions, click Start Lab to launch your lab. So you click here, Start Lab. At a Start Lab panel opens, displaying the lab status. Not the region, you'll need it to refer this. Wait until you see the message lab status ready, then click X to close the Start Lab panel. I don't know whether mine has shown that lab panel. Then at the top of the instructions, click AWS. So you'll come in, after it loads, you'll come and click here. The system will automatically log you in. Then you do task 1. You'll be able to do this step by step. Then you come and do is another business scenario. So you can see it usually takes a bit of time to set it up. I don't know whether, were you able to do this? Okay, let me check. Were you able to click on Start Lab? Were you able to come here and click on, see the instructions? No, I didn't get there. I only clicked. Oh, so when you click on the term and conditions, after you do that, you go and you click on my work. Then once you click on my work, you now get to where you are. You scroll down the side, you see the instructions. Then when you see the instructions, you'll be able to click on Start Lab. Then you start onto the lab itself that is here. So so you do the processes. I wish we could be able to do it together. I don't know whether you're on your machine and whether you can be able to access your own lab or be able to follow what I'm doing, then you'll do it at your time. Then the erosion. So the lab is now ready. So once it is ready, you are told you close that. Then, so here is where you are being told that. So you're being told, let me scroll up. So when the lab status is ready, click X to close. Then at the top of the session, click AWS. So I'll click here. It will open in a new tab. So you can see it is loading. This will open. The system will automatically log me in. So this is what is happening. You can see it has already logged me in. You can see with voclab/all/student. Yeah. So I'm already logged in. So this is how AWS looks like. It is a real console. We are dealing with it live. But you only do what the lab. Once the lab is up, don't try to deviate from what it's asking you to do. So the next thing, arrange the AWS so that it displays alongside these instructions. So I'll maybe drag that out to the side. I do this, then I bring this to the side. So the other thing, task 1. In this task, you'll explore the users and groups that have already been created for you in IAM. So in AWS management, on the services menu, so this is the services menu, click IAM. So IAM is here, security, identity, and compliance. So I'll click on IAM. In the navigation pane on the left, click users. So here on the left, I'm being told I click users. I'll click users here. So you can see the following IAM users have been created for you: user 1, user 2, user 3. And you can see they are all here: user 1, user 2, and user 3. Click on user 1. This will bring a summary page for user 1. The permissions tab will be displayed. So notice that user 1 does not have any permissions. Click on the groups tab. In the groups tab, user 1 is also not a member of any group, so it doesn't have any permissions. You can see it's not part of any groups. Click on the security credentials tab. User 1 is assigned a console password. So security credentials, and you can see there's a console password that has been assigned. So and you can see there's a console sign-in link. In the navigation pane on the left, click on groups. So what I'm being asked to do, will I be able to see it here? Yep. I'll click on groups, user groups. The following groups have already been created for you: EC2 admin, EC2 support, S3 support. So let's look at that. Let's see, is it loading? Still loading. Yeah, so you can see that we have EC2 admin, as you've been told, EC2 support, and S3 support. So in essence, what you're trying to do is you're trying to have different roles for different people. For example, the person who is the admin has overall rights over every feature. Support person this EC2 support can only support the EC2 service. The S3 support group can only support the S3 storage service, secure storage. So click the EC2 support group. This will bring a summary page. So I've clicked on EC2 support. Click the permissions tab. This group has a managed policy associated with it called EC2 Amazon EC2 read-only access. So it's loading. Managed policies are pre-built policies built either by AWS or by your administrators that can be attached to identity and access and management users and groups. When the policy is updated, the changes to the policy are immediately applied to all users and groups that are attached to the policy. Under actions, So has it loaded? So I'm supposed to click on EC2 support group. I think it takes a bit of time to load. Under actions, show policy link. Or is it showing then that I'm not seeing? Yeah, sorry, it was not showing. So under actions, so I'm being asked to do what? I'm being asked to go back to the lab, to the instructions. Okay, so I'm being asked to do what? Let's look at this, let's look at this, let's look at this. So I'm being asked to go to the permissions tab. Permissions tab. So let's make this. Here's the permissions tab. Then I can see here Amazon EC2 read-only access. So what am I being asked to do? Under actions, click the show policy link. So under actions, so I think there's a bit of a change, but I can see the show policy of bit. So this is the policy itself. The basic structure of the statements in an IAM policy is effect, action, and resource. Effect says whether to allow or deny permissions. Action specifies the API calls that can be made against the AWS service. Then the resource defines the scope of entities covered by the policy rule, e.g. a specific Amazon S3 buckets or the EC2 instance or all or asterisk, which means any resource. Click X to close the show policy window. So let's see. So let's look at the policy itself. So here it is. So you can see effect, action, resource, it's here. Then I can just close it maybe from there. Let's go back to the lab. In the navigation pane on the left, click groups. Click groups and the S3. I'll also do the same thing. I'll go to under groups. Under groups. And then I'll go to S3 support. We are doing the same thing. You're just looking at the permissions. So I'll go to permissions. Then I'll also open this permission by looking at the link. Then I can see this permission. The version is that, showing me when it was last made. And then if the statement, it's like a JSON file. Then the effect is to allow or deny, but for this case, it is to allow. And then the action is to allow for the person to get all the S3 buckets and to be able to list them. And the resource is all under S3. So you can see S3 read-only access. So let's go back. to the lab instruction. In the navigation, click on EC2 admin group. This group is slightly different from the other two. Instead of a managed policy, it has what you call an inline policy, which is a policy assigned to just one user or group. Inline policies are typically used to apply permissions for one-off situations. Under actions, click show policy to view the policy. Then let's do that first. So we are going to the user groups again. We go to EC2 admin, we see the under permissions. We have this, you can see it is an inline policy. When you go back to the other one, let's say EC2 support, and then you go to permissions, you can see the type is AWS managed. So that is the thing that the lab is trying to explain to you. This one is an inline policy. For the admin, it's an inline policy, and it is used for because it is a one-off use. You can see the version. Action for this is the admin can be able to describe, be able to start instances, and even to stop EC2 instances. And the resource is all of them, not one specific one. And the effect is to allow, not to deny, but to allow. Okay, let's go on. Business scenario. So here we're looking at it, how does it happen in practice? Because in practice, in any business, there are people who have different roles. Is there overall admin? There's somebody who deals with the S3. There's someone who deals with EC2, you can see. S3 support read-only access to Amazon S3, EC2 support read-only access to Amazon EC2, and EC2 admin to be able to view, start, and stop EC2 instances, Amazon EC2 instances. So task 2, add users to groups. You have recently hired user 1. So you remember we had user 1, user 2, and user 3 into a role where they will provide support for Amazon S3. You will add them to the S3 support group so they can inherit the necessary permissions via the attached Amazon S3 read-only access policy. You can ignore any not authorized errors that appear during this task. They are caused by your lab account having limited permissions and will not impact your ability to complete the lab. Add user 1 to the S3 support group. So this one thing in the left navigation, click on groups, click the S3 support group, click the users tab. In the users tab, add users. In the add users to group window, configure the following, select user 1. At the bottom, click add users. So we are adding user 1 to the S3 support group. So let's do that. Okay, so we are going to groups. We go to S3 support. Under users, we click here, add users. I hope you can see it, it's here, add users. And then you're adding user 1. We select user 1, then you click on add users. So you can see the user has already now been added. Now let's go, we've completed that part of the lab. Add user 2 to the EC2 support group. You have hired user 2 into a role where they'll be able to provide support for Amazon EC2. Using the similar steps to the one above, add user 2 to the EC2 support. So let's add user 2. Okay, user 2, EC2 support. EC2 support, go to users, add users. Then we select user 2, then click on add users. Okay. Then add user 3 to the EC2 admin. So that's also straightforward. We do the same thing. User groups, EC2 admin, add users, then we add user 3, add users. In the navigation pane, you click on groups. Each group should have a 1 in the users column. If you do not have a 1 beside each group, revisit the instructions, so you'll go to that. So let's look at the groups and see whether we have a 1 beside them. So user groups. So you can see now under users, you can see we have 1, we have 1, we have 1. So it means you have done the steps correctly. Okay. Task 3, sign in and test users. In this task, you'll test the permissions of each IAM user. An IAM user's link is displayed. User sign-in link is displayed. It will look similar to that. This link can be used to sign into AWS. Make around copy, open a private window, and then you copy the sign-in link. New incognito, browser, different browsers. You'll now sign in as user 1 who has been hired. So let's look at that. So sign in link. So you go to this, you go to users, you go to user 1. Okay. So have we forgotten the link? Sorry, let me just do this. Go back to this. In the navigation pane on the left, click on dashboard. Dashboard, dashboard, dashboard. So I click on dashboard. We told don't worry about the security. Okay, under the dashboard. So I should find an IAM user sign-in link. And whether you're seeing it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it is here. So you can see this is our sign-in link. So I'll copy it, sign in. So this is where you find the sign-in link. You'll copy it. You open a private window. So I'll do new incognito window. I hope it's still visible. You can tell me on the chat. I don't know if the private windows are still available on the share. Then I do paste and go. So it will ask me for a username and a password. So I'll get it from the lab instructions. So you can see it is asking me what's the username and what's the password. So I'll go here. I'll go to the lab and I'll see the user is user 1. So I'll copy this. And then I go to this, I paste that. And then I go to that, I paste lab password 1. And then I go here, I paste that, click on sign in. So it is signing me in. So what is next as it signs in? In the services menu, click S3. So you go to services. So these are the many services that are there. So I'll go to S3. It's under storage. It's usually under storage. So I'll just click S3 here. Click the name of one of your buckets and browse the content. Since your user is part of S3 support, they have the permission to view and list. Now test whether they have access to EC2. So let's see whether you'll be able to have access to one of the buckets. So you can see there's a sample bucket here. So I'll click on it. You can see I can be able to see nice, it's here, but it doesn't have any objects in it. So I can see properties. You can see that I can be able to see the buckets. But what about when I go to EC2? Remember EC2, I don't have the rights for EC2 as user 1. So do you see what happens? I get an error. I get an error here. And then maybe if I try to even look at one, you can see you are not authorized to perform. You are not authorized to perform this operation. And this is because of IAM. The policies that we've had, the managed policies that we've already initiated for user 1, does not allow them to look at, does not allow the S3 support admin to look at EC2 instances or the EC2 service. Okay, so you can see you do not have any instances. Sign in to user one. Sign user one out of the. I sign them out. Let me sign out now. I'm signing out of user one. I sign out. And then I sign in with user two. So user two. So you can see when I sign out, it takes me so much back. So let me see that I'll get the link. I'll get the link. Will I get the link? Don't want to look for it again to paste it. Yeah, I've gotten the link. So I paste that. I just clicked back to where it was. Then I do lab password 2. If anytime you have a question, you ask on the chat so that we are together. I paste that. I click on sign in. I need to click on the link again. So let me look for the link. Go for this. I copy this link. Come here. I paste it. Then once it is there, I'll go here. We'll just copy the password because it's the one that is long. Then the other one, I'll type it. So the other one is user 2. The password is there given. I sign in. So you remember user 2. User 2 was in which role? If you remember very well, we gave user 2 the ability to do what? They are in which group? You can tell me on the chat. User 2 is in which group? User 2 is in which group? Yes, is in the EC2 support group. So we expect that the user will be able to look at EC2 instances, but will not be able to look at S3. So what does the lab tell us? In the services menu, click EC2. In the navigations, click instances. You're not able to see the Amazon EC2 instance because you have read-only permissions. However, you'll not be able to make any changes to the Amazon EC2 resources. So let's see. Is that what will happen? So you can see it shows me some of the recently visited services, but the best way is to click on here and you just click on EC2. So EC2. So you can see right now it is not showing the API error or something of that sort. So when I go to instances, okay, I'm being told if I'm not able to see any instances, I change the region. I hope you can see that. Let me just show you that part. So it is telling me if you cannot see an Amazon EC2 instance, then your region may be incorrect. In the top right, pull down the region and select the region that you noted at the start of the lab. Did I note the region? I think I forgot to note the region, but let's try. There's no worries. I'll change the region to maybe, let's say, North Virginia. Let's see whether you're going to get some instances running there. Yeah, so you can see we have lab host and bastion host. So what happens when we try to, let's say that, and then we maybe say, you've selected it. Is there anything I can do to it? So you can see there's nothing. I'm not authorized to perform this. I'm trying to see whether I can be able to stop the instance. There's nothing I can do. So you can see if I say launch. Okay, it's not to launch. I don't want to launch an instance. I wanted to select, and under actions, let me see. You can see even connecting, I can't do it. Networking, security, they're all disabled. There's nothing I can do about it. I can only read. I can be able to read some of the features, such of that sort. Okay, let's go back to our lab. So you can see if it's did not selected, select the instance named choose top instance. So let's see whether if I can be able to choose. So you can see under instance state, I can say if I say stop, it will not work. So you can see even if it is asking me to confirm, when I click stop, you see failed to stop the instance, that you are not authorized to perform this operation. Like it gives you all the details, but the main message here is you are not authorized to perform this operation, and that is what IAM is doing, identity access and management. Okay, let's go on with the lab. So you can see this is what you're being told. Then at the stop instances window, click cancel. Next, check if user 2 can access Amazon S3. In the services, click S3, you'll receive error access denied because user 2 does not have permission to use S3. Let's look at that. Will that happen? Let's go to services. Let's go to storage. Let's go to S3. So you can see you don't have permission to list buckets. After you or your administrator have updated your permissions to allow you to allow the S3 list all my buckets action, refresh this page. Learn more about identity and access management in Amazon 3, which is what we are doing right now. So that is what is happening. Sign user 2 out of the AWS management by doing the following. So we are signing out. So I think we're going now to the last user. So I'll go to here. I sign out. So once I sign out, I need to go back and get the link here. Sign in link, I copy it. I get it again, I paste it here. Because right now I think you're going to the admin. You're now going to the admin. Paste the sign in link. So you're going to use a 3. The password is lab password 3. So I copy that. Go to that. So it is user 3. And the password is that. So once I have that, what am I being told? Let's follow the lab. In the services menu, click EC2. As an EC2 administrator, you should now have permissions to stop the Amazon EC2 instance. Your instance should be selected. If it's not, select the instance named lab host. If you cannot see, change the region. We'll see that. In the instance state menu, choose stop instance. In the stop instance, click stop. The instance will enter the stopping state and will shut down. Close your private window. So let's try that. So we are logged in. Let's go to services, EC2. So you can see I have lab host here. So when I select and then I go to instance state and I click stop instance and I get the confirmation, I click on stop. So you can see successfully stopped. I'm not getting the error message, And then you can see it is asking, it is stopping. Then at the end of it all, I'll be able to see it is already now shut down. It takes a process like shutting down a computer. It is stopping it. So you can see it has changed from stopping, it is now stopped. And it is done. So let's look at our lab. Close your private window. So I'll close my private window. So it was this one. I can log out, or I can just close it. Congratulations, you have completed the lab. Click End Lab at the top of this page, then click Yes to confirm that you want to end the lab. Panel will appear indicating the delete has been initiated. So I'll also make sure I close this, because this is where we were also. So close that. Then I'll click now the End Lab. Are you sure you want to end the lab? I'll say yes. So it will take some process. As you can see, you may close this message box. Lab resources are terminating. It takes some time also, but you don't have to wait on that. Then congratulations, you have now explored the pre-created IAM users and groups, inspected some IAM policies and as applied to the pre-created groups, followed a real-world scenario, adding users to groups with specific capabilities, enabled, located and used the IAM sign-in URL, experimented with the effects of policies on service access. You can have some more resources and such. So that is the lab, the first lab, that is lab 1. During these sessions, I think, as I said and I insisted, I'll be going through the labs with you so that you're able to do, unless if there's any challenges, we can even do it at some time. Yeah, so I could only do it through the student view. Let me leave the student view and see whether I'll be able to see the progress. So anytime you do a lab, I'll be able to see that progress, and I'll be able to see, oh, somebody so-and-so was able to do the lab. So I'll be able to see under enrollment list of students, you can see test student. There's a test student, the dashboard, can be able to see. I can select the test student. It was us who are doing it. AWS Cloud. You edit, you can see the person spent 37 minutes to do the lab. You see it was being told what are the costs. I'll be able to see your lab status. Is anything container? Is it anything related to cloud? Yeah, so you can see for under cloud, I can be able to see the user was test student. That is how I'll be able to see how you are able to do it. You started it at this time, you ended it at this time, start successful, end successful, initiated. Analytics, send the learners, select test student. So you can see under grades. Lab time, you can even see how much time you took for every lab. So I can see lab 1, somebody has already done it. This lab 1 introduction to AWS IAM. This is without command line. This is one for command line. So I can be able to say, okay, there's a lab for command line. Are you able to do it? Build your VPC. I'll be able to see whether you did the lab for build your VPC, either normally using the user interface and also command line. And then introduction to Amazon EC2. I said Amazon EC2 is so interesting, so interesting. So make sure you check on that. Then there's also Lambda lab, there's a Beanstalk lab, there's an EBS lab, there's a database server lab, there's a balance your architecture lab, and so on and so forth. So, so you can see, I can be able to see whether you're doing the labs or not. And I can be able to manage and be able to say, okay, let's go on with. So unless there's any question, I think it's clear. I think now you'll be able to do the labs. You're now getting more confidence. Also, as I said, when you look at the modules we are targeting to do at least 2 modules per. Once you do the module, you do your knowledge check. It's very easy. Then you can be able to move on very well. So is there any question? Any question? Any question? So any question? Any question? Any question from any one of us? So if there's no question, we'll end this. We'll have another session before next Thursday where we'll look at lab 2 to build your VPC and launch a web server. But I would advise you, even before you jump onto the labs, make sure you have already looked at all these sections. Every section has a video where it's explained. That is why I'm not trying to ensure that, because it's kind of blended, and I wouldn't want to go through the session as if you don't have this content. You have access to this content, and you can be able to run through and see and watch as the person explains. For example, if it's networking basics, this person can be able to show you and say,
hello and welcome. This video will cover basic networking concepts that will provide the necessary foundation for learning.
So, so I think with that, we can call it a class. I'll share the link to your WhatsApp group, and do that right now before other things crop up in what I'm doing. Let me show. Sorry, Clinton, I saw you thought it was 7. I also even thought it was almost 7. I don't know why. I thought it was around 6 there personally, not 7. But yeah, so I think we can stop the stream. We'll meet